Go.
Okay, so I'm Deseriee, this is Sarah, the rest of the team's throughout the room. This is who the HERT team is, brown bag presentation. So HERT stands for Hospital Emergency Response Team. There are 12 of us currently that serve on this team. The next one I think is, no, that's not the
So we've all gone to trainings down in Anniston, Alabama. These are sponsored by FEMA. And so here's just some pictures of the training. These trainings involved a lot of classroom time where we learned about proper responses, and we also got to work outside of the classroom, drilling and training that way. And I think everybody agrees it was a pretty good experience and got us ready to come back here and work as a team and ready for disasters. So everyone in the hospital should be happy that they have us, because we respond to any kind of disaster that would happen where patients come in and they need to be decontaminated before they're treated. So that could be anything from, oops, I got soaked in diesel fuel in my garage, to I work in the mine and I was exposed to a chemical of some sort. So we need to decontaminate all of those patients before we're able to treat them in the hospital. Otherwise, if we bring them in without doing that, we are exposing the other patients and staff to whatever chemical they were in. So here's some pictures of us actually drilling. We meet once a month, and most of the time we do some sort of an activity. This is our response tent that we use. It's really, really fun to put up and down. And what this has in it basically is lanes for showering. You can have a male, female, walking wounded lane, and then there's a lane where we could put someone on a gurney, take them through. There's sprinklers that come down out of the tent, and we clean them, spray them off, and then they are ready to be taken into the hospital. So this would be something we'd use if there was a big mass casualty. So let's say we get a call, there's been a tanker that's been overturned on I-80. There's a bunch of pedestrians that were involved in the accident, and there is just gasoline everywhere, all over everything. So they're bringing us 10 of these people that are soaked in gasoline and in various states of injury. This might be something that we decide that we're going to set up to bring patients through. The decon team or the HERT team would be notified, and we would come in, we would suit up, and we would begin processing patients so that they could go into the ER.
And then at the top is a list of who all right now is servicing on the team. And like I said, there's 12 of us.
It's really fun, and we are going to be looking for another person, so if anybody's interested or knows anyone that could be interested in it, let any of us know.
So we covered some of this already, but the types of stuff would be chemical, biologic, radiologic, nuclear, or explosive hazards. We also, if they were to need some life-saving care prior to coming into the hospital, we would perform that while we're decontaminating them, like applying tourniquets and stuff like that. So, let's see.
We've got a pretty good split on the team. We've got clinical people, we've got people from facilities, we've got people in security, we've kind of got people from everywhere. And you know, as the team has evolved and changed, I think we've pulled people from all different areas. So I think we've got a great team, and we've got a lot of, everybody brings something different to the team, yeah,
So just a few things that we provide. So we are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Between the 12 of us, we would respond to any event that we were needed for any time of the year, day, night. She already talked about that. We meet monthly. We perform quarterly events as well, like we involve the community in disaster response training. Like sometimes the high school students come and help us as well, so they're involved. We work closely with the emergency department because they're usually the ones that receive the patients after we're done with them. So we want them to be involved as well.
We each have our own bag with our own gear. So we have our appropriate level PPE that we wear, and everybody's got their bag show you a little bit more about that in a minute. So, yeah, we do all kinds of drills and training and try to involve lots of people.
So there's lots of gear that we have to use to make sure that we're safe. And this is just a list that I don't know if we need to go over every piece right here until sorry.
We can go over it. Like,
Yeah.
We're gonna show you exactly what the suit looks like that we wear, so we can kind of talk about each piece at that point. But there's a lot to it, and the process of donning and doffing is really important. You have to make sure you're putting things on correctly. When we're decontaminating patients, there's a lot of water and soap, so we want to make sure that things are placed and taped properly. Otherwise, when you take your equipment off, you may have wet areas, which is not good because that's probably water and maybe it's some of the contaminant that's leaked into your suit. We check our suits to make sure there's no rips or tears or any way that water decontaminant can get in that way. When we take the suits off, it's really important we follow a certain process just to keep ourselves safe and the people that are helping us to put the suits on and off.
And we're going to go over all these parts when Mark dresses in and dresses out.
This is an example. We use the buddy system when we dress, and we use the buddy system when we doff, or when we take the, you want to call them outfits, we take the equipment off when we're done with an activity. We can only stay in the equipment for a very limited amount of time, depending on the temperature, the weather. It's usually anywhere from half an hour up to 45 minutes, somewhere in there. But if it's very hot and we're working mostly outside, then that's a consideration. We may be in the suit even less time. So something's happening, we're going to split off into groups. Group A goes in, Group B is getting ready, and we do that. When we come out, we take time off, we hydrate, eat, and get ready, if we need to go back in, if it's that large of an event that there's more people coming that needs to be decontaminated.
And we all have to be medically clearable to be put in the suits in the beginning anyway. So we have to have stable vital signs. We can't have high blood pressure. That's too high. That would be dangerous to put you in a suit. You can't have low oxygen. All those things we have to take in consideration before we put our suits on and we're in a hot suit for a long period of time because it can become dangerous. Okay, so we are going to have Mark don and doff his suit. I'm going to go back to the equipment list. That way we can talk about each part while he's doing that.
So in our duffel bag, and we just added to our duffel bag new boots.
Yes.
I'll take everything out and kind of show it. And
You guys just take these with you, or are they left, where are they kept out in bags?
That room that's off of the ambulance bay that like the EMS uses, that's where we keep them. We've got some other little supplies in there that we use, should there be an incident. We've got a control board that we can keep track of who's doing what, who's on the team. So this is the actual suit, and this is usually the first piece that we start with. Everybody has their own suit. They look huge, but you want them to be large so you can move around easily with them. You don't want to be splitting a seam, bending over, or anything. So the boots are the newest addition, like Mark said. We just received those. The hospital did pay for those, so thank you for that. They work a lot better than the system we were using before, which was just little booties. These are nice, heavy, they've got slip-resistant soles. We work a lot in wet and slippery surfaces, so these are just nice to have.
Where there's somewhere where water can come in is somewhere that we would tape in a real event. So just right here where his boots, and then the zippers. So just for extra protection for the water and that contamination getting inside the suit. We
a special tape that we use. It's called chem tape. It's actually looks like duct tape, but it's $50 a roll. It's very expensive. And so when we're just practicing and drilling, a lot of times we'll just use regular duct tape. What we haven't really been taping because one of the things we learned down in Alabama is that duct tape can be really hard on the suits if you're taking it on and off. But in a real event, we would be using the chem tape and we're taping up every seam. And like Des said, so where his gloves, like on the wrists, where he's working right now, we would be taping that up. And this is why it's nice to have the buddy system. This is literally impossible to try to do by yourself. And then the other thing the buddy is doing is making sure that we're covering everything. The zipper's pulled the whole way up. We've taped everything. There's no parts that we need to look at closer. It's getting ready to put on the capper. Now this has 3 separate air filters that go on it. And we have practice air filters, and then we have the real thing that we would use in the event of a real event. So these get put on, and these are going to filter out any contaminants or chemicals that we come into contact with. They're NIOP approved. There's a little battery that goes on there, and that's what runs it. Battery clips on the belts. Are you hot yet?
Getting there. Coming up.
Okay. The last piece always to go on is the mask, or the hood. We put these little styrofoams in to help protect that plastic face shield when they're being stored. Is it on, Mark?
Yep, it's running.
Okay, so that's an important thing because otherwise he's not getting air in that. He's literally just got a plastic bag over his head.
And this thing fogs up, you won't be able to see in a couple of minutes.
Yes.
It has an inner shroud and an outer shroud. The training that the suits that we had on, we tucked our inner shroud. It helps keep the air to go into your mask and not out into the environment.
And at this point, he's ready to go in. So whatever the incident is, Mark would be ready to go in and assist. It's hard to communicate in the suit, so we've come up with some different sign language that we use just among the team members. We've kind of played around with different things like communication boards and stuff like that to use, but we found the sign language works pretty well. At one point, we tried to use little walkie-talkies, but those didn't work very well. Not at all, no. So this is what we've come up with. So he would go in, probably him and 2 to 3 other folks would be at this point dressed, and we would send them in. Timer would start. As soon as he puts his mask on and the air starts going, the timer starts. Goes in, works for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Someone needs to be keeping track of time, and then, hey, you guys are done, come out. At that point, they have to do self-decon. So they've been deconning patients this whole time, right? With soap or water, getting all the chemicals off them. Now it's time for them to decon themselves. So that's a process where we have another team member come in and help him to get all cleaned off, rinsed off, and then he would come out and he would have someone ready to receive him and help him take the suit off. And that's kind of how it works. You guys have any questions about the suit?
Is there any exposures that the suit that we use can't protect us from?
I mean, I'm sure there would be some.
Because we're not the highest level.
It would no.
Yeah.
There's different levels for these suits. I mean, actually, anybody that works on med-surg or in the ER wears a level just by taking care of patients, right? When we put a mask on, we put gloves on, sometimes we put gowns on. That's considered a level of PPE. There's this level, and then there's a level that's above this, and that's got
Like
it's called-
hazmat, like.
It's called you get a scuba with that one. This is a PAPR. The scuba is a self-contained breathing apparatus, and you're going into a really nasty environment, or you don't know what you're going into.
And most of the time they have oxygen as well, like they have oxygen tanks inside there. So they have a limited amount of oxygen as well.
But those guys are literally all encapsulated.
Because there's some chemicals that take the oxygen out of the air.
Yes.
So.
So like if you're going to go in an environment, let's say you're going in doing chemical testing and you don't really know what you're going into. It's an old tank farm. So there's all these old tanks that they've kept chemicals in. You don't even really know what it is. Maybe put something like that on to go in. With us, we usually know what we're coming into contact with, and we're not actually going into the environment where the chemical is. We're receiving the patients that are coming to us that have been in that environment. So it's a little bit different. But like, I think the mine rescue teams and some of the other people we've talked to, their suits are much more elaborate than this. Yes?
Is there any special size of suits?
There are.
Kind of
So
like
they are. So the suits come in sizes. You can order the suits from like small to 15 extra large.
Oh, okay.
Bill size. Bill size is there. So they do. They come in specific sizes. But like we said, we want our suits very large. So the larger the better, kind of, because they're hot and they're uncomfortable, and you have to be able to get down and maybe pick a patient up off the ground with a gurney. So if you want to start.
And we do a lot of tucking, so then you're losing some of the suit when you do that. But like I think mine's an extra large.
Oh.
And they look
Not
goofy,
yet.
they look big, but that's how you want them. You don't ever want them snug and too tight. So, okay.
Is the HERT team what the Decon team used to be?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
thank
The
you.
Decon team is now the HERT team. That's the official terminology that other places have gone to. So, yeah, but we're the same thing. So then the dock process, it has to be slow and kind of methodical, but it's hard because you want to get it off. You've been in there working, you're probably sweating, you're just done, and you want to try to get it off as fast as you can, but we need to make sure we're doing it in a certain way. We're looking at everything. I'm looking at him to make sure he doesn't have soap suds. Let's say we were dealing with a chemical that has a certain color, I'm looking for that. As he's taking it off, we're looking for places that stuff might have got in. Unfortunately, one of the common areas is the crotch, because we don't, maybe we're not taping that as well, but that's an area water can get in, and we'll see that. So then, in your boots. So if there's any of those areas, then he's going to need to additionally go take clothes off, take a shower, get clean clothes on. But at this point, he would be able to go into like a hydration area, because you sweat a lot in these. As you're moving, you're working, you're scrubbing people off, you're lifting people, you're rolling them, whatever you're doing. You sweat a lot. Down at the training in Alabama, that was pretty miserable for us to wear the suits, but yeah.
Is there sound on this if I play the video? There is. It'll play.
Mhm.
Does anybody have any other questions?
Can you dim the lights a little bit?
I don't know if I can even.
Copy and paste or something.
I was going to.
I'm not computer, and someone else needs to computer it up over there. I can't do the computer. Oh my gosh. Like, I don't know how to get it to work.
We inspect the suits, monthly when we meet. Everybody pulls their suit out and takes a look at it, make sure everything is in working order. Us each having our own bag, I think, has been a good thing, because we've been able to kind of take ownership of it. You want your suit to be in working order. You want the batteries to work, the filters to, not be expired, so that if we're called tomorrow at 2 a.m, we're able to respond. And we don't have to worry about, is my suit ready to go? You checked it, it's ready to go. So that's one of the things that we do when we meet monthly, is we go through and look at the suits.
do I get the
Play video.
feedback on my PowerPoint and show?
Sarah,
Mm-hmm.
have you had any actual incidents where you've had to?
We've not. We've had a couple close calls, and we've had a couple we probably should have been called upon. I guess that's a take-home message too. Like if you think, like, hey, I've been working on my lawnmower all day, and whoops, now I'm coming in because I got hurt, but I'm also covered in gasoline. We probably should be called for that, because then we're bringing them into the ER. There's fumes associated with that. It's not a good thing. So we've had a couple close calls, or hey, I think this happened, but it ended up not happening. But nothing real yet, thankfully. But really, in this area, it's kind of a matter of time, I think, before it happens. We have so much industry, and we've got the railways and the interstate coming through.
Is there any collaboration with those big companies like Halliburton?
We have had some. We've met with some folks from the mines,
Yeah.
and I know David meets with the the Sweetwater County.
LAPC.
Yeah, LAPC.
Monthly.
And we've been trying to get with the fire department, so we almost always when we do exercises, we are involving the ambulance and EMS services, and that would be how it happened, really. They would be the ones bringing patients in, so.
Well, it won't play up here, but we put a cute little video at the end, but I don't know, it won't matter for those of
Everybody
you
see
sitting
it?
in the back.
Yeah, we can see it. Look like I missed it, but they it's up there.
It's not that long.
No. It's from, what is it,
Monsters, Inc.
Inc.
They're decontaminating a monster, and it's a lot like what we do. It's pretty.
The volume too.
It's all the way up. Looked like it was all the way up. That's all we've got.
We promise we won't shave you.
Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.